Searching for articles in Business Source Premier. So this is what Business Source Premier looks like, and we're going to be searching this database for articles about human resource management in small and medium-sized enterprises. And I'm just going to show you how to use the database most effectively. So I'm going to start by just searching for the term human resource management, and we'll build up a search. Human resource management. And I'm going to run a search there, and it will give us a set of results. And you can see we've got 113,000 articles. But I want to show you that you often want to carry out more specific searches, more kind of accurate searches than just throwing in keywords like that. And there are ways to make your search more rigorous. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put quotation marks around where it says human resource. This is telling the database that I want to find those two words literally next to each other in that order, married together with no other words in between them as a specific phrase. Before I put those quotation marks in, it was finding the word human somewhere and the word resource somewhere, but not necessarily next to each other in that very order. So if I run a search now, we will get fewer results. And yep, we've got fewer results there. The ones that have dropped out of this had the word human somewhere and the word resource somewhere, but not next to each other. And there are other things that you can do to build up your search. At the moment, I'm going to take out this term management, and this will come back in later, but I'm going to add some other ways of saying human resource. So one way of doing it is HR. That's a term that's commonly used rather than in full human resource. Another way of doing it is the term personnel. Personnel. That is another way of saying a very similar thing. However, I need to first change that and to an or and that and to an or there. Now I'm telling the database I want to find either this term or this term or this term. Any of them will be fine so long as it brings back at least one of those terms. That's what that or is telling the database. And we'll get many more results there because included in our results will be personnel as well as HR. So I'm going to run a search there and we'll get many more results. And you can see it's jumped up a huge number of results here. But I want to kind of make this search more rigorous. So I'm now going to copy these terms and I'm going to write them into this one box, like so. I have just written in one box exactly what had been written over the course of 3 boxes. And I've just written it in one box here, and I've told it in that box that I want human resource or HR or personnel. It's exactly the same search. It will give us exactly the same set of results. It's just written within one box. It's giving us exactly the same set of results here. The reason I'm doing that is because we are going to combine this idea, human resource, with small and medium-sized enterprises. And at that stage, we're going to want to use the and when we're combining two ideas. My tip, don't use and or down the left-hand side at the same time. It could end up leading to results that you wouldn't expect. It's much better to write or within one box here, so you keep inside one box one idea, one concept, and then when you're marrying it with other concepts, you can put them in new boxes. That's human resource or HR personnel, but we want human resource or HR personnel management. So I'm going to add another thing to this search. I'm going to first of all put brackets around this, and those brackets are keeping those things together. If you can remember from maths at school, you did brackets first of all. The database knows to look for one of these terms first, and having done that, to do what I'm now telling it to do, I'm going to write W4. That's telling the database that I want to find within 4 words of any of these terms. That's what W4 stands for, within 4 words. I want to search for the word management. So human resource, I decided earlier on, was a phrase that I definitely wanted to be a specific phrase with no words in between. and so I put quotation marks around it. But here I want to find the word management near to one of these other terms, and that's a reasonable thing to want to do. You can change that 4, by the way, to anything you want to. You can change it to 2, to 10, whatever, but I'm telling it I want it within 4 words. And I'm going to do something else to make my search even more rigorous. I'm going to take out the end of the word management and replace it with a star. And that star tells the database that I want to find occurrences of any word that begins like this, irrespective of how it ends. So that will include managing, managers, managed, management, any of those potential endings, and that's called a truncation symbol. This one here is called a proximity tool, proximity search. All the details of these are explained more fully if you click that little question mark there, and it gives you search help. But this is now a rigorous search. I'm searching for either the term human resource or the term HR or the term personnel, and I want them within 4 of the term manager or manages or managing, management, any of those options. So that will give us fewer results. I'm going to run a search there and we're going to get fewer results. That's gone down now to 318,000 results. By the way, there is a search history in this database. If I click that where it says search history, it shows all the searches that we've done so far. So you can revisit earlier searches at any stage if you want to, and you can lose or gain that search history at any stage from visibility just by clicking where it says search history. And it's a really useful thing often, so that you can see what you've searched for before. So this is one concept, human resource management, written in a relatively clever way. And we're now going to search for small and medium-sized enterprises, because that's what we're interested in, small and medium-sized enterprise human resource management. So I'm just going to type in SME at this stage, SME, and I'm going to run a search, and that will narrow down our results massively, because now we're combining both human resource management and SME. That's now gone down to 1,937. It's reduced our results massively. But you could say SME in other ways. So if I start typing in or, it actually offers to me some options here. SME or small and medium-sized enterprise or small business. These are other ways of saying SME, and I'm going to happily take that. Now here it's a lowercase or. It does exactly the same thing as an uppercase or here. I tend to write it in uppercase just because I can see quickly what is the connector and what isn't. Also, I would probably tidy up what they've suggested here by putting in some quotation marks around small and medium-sized enterprise. Then it will find that exact phrase in that very order. And they've given another option here. Let's change that to a capital O and R, not that you have to. And given another option here, or small business. And again, I would probably put that in quotation marks just to tidy that up. Make it more accurate. And I'm now going to run a search, and we should get more results than that now, because we've got more than just SME. See, that's gone up there. One final thing just to point out is we are searching for our terms in 3 places at the moment. We're searching for our terms in the title of the article, in the abstract of the article, and in the subject terms of the article, i.e. the keywords, those kind of things down here, the subject terms. We're searching for those, so they're major mentions of our term. But you could change where you're searching if you wanted to. So we're searching by default in the subject terms, the title and the abstract, i.e. key mentions. But if you want to broaden your search, you could search within the text of the article as well. So that is now changing where we're searching for those key terms. If I run a search there, it'll give us a different set of results. And you can see that's gone up a fair bit because it's mentioning those terms in the article. A word of warning, if you search within all the text, it may bring back just passing mentions, whereas if you leave it as it was originally, select a field, it's going to be major mentions because it's appearing in either the abstract, the title, or the subject terms. So that will give us a fewer results, but probably more relevant set of results there. And then just to finish off, if you get a set of results that you really like the look of, click here where it says share. Don't copy the URL up here. Click here where it says share, and you will get a link that you can send to your friends or colleagues, or you can use yourself, and it will change over time, that link, so that every new article that appears that meets these criteria will also appear under that link there. So that's Searching Business Source Premier.